5 everyday foods I never give my child. I'm not mom or dad shaming you if you feed your kids these foods. They're tasty, and if you give them to your kids on occasion, they will be fine. But as a parent, I would rather provide foods that are more beneficial for long-term health and nutrition. And let's face it, the extra additives in some of these foods aren't for our benefit. The bottom line is to increase shelf life and make large companies more money at the expense of our health. Disclaimer, I'm not a dietitian, although I did work for 15 years in an acute care hospital and saw a lot of disease and sickness that I want to prevent. And I educate myself through reliable literature and insights from professionals. Number 1, Goldfish Crackers. The good. They're low in sugar and fortified with essential vitamins and don't have horrendous additives or dyes. The bad. They're made from highly refined flour that's been stripped so much of its natural nutrients that we then have to add synthetic nutrients back in. These aren't necessarily going to be absorbed as well by the body as with a whole food, especially because the fiber has been removed. Additionally, the use of refined vegetable oils such as canola or soybean oil may contribute to high intake of omega-6 fatty acids, which is something to balance carefully alongside omega-3s for overall health. Your kids are also probably ingesting some pesticides, as wheat is a highly sprayed crop, and these are not organic. And there's a good chance that the little bit of real cheese that's in these goldfish likely comes from cows treated with antibiotics and artificial growth hormones. So while I don't think you're a terrible parent for giving your child goldfish crackers, and Lord knows I have eaten more than I could possibly count in my life, I just don't see the point. And I should also mention, dentists hate goldfish as much as candy. This is because highly processed starch, which goldfish are, breaks down into sugar, which feeds bacteria in your mouth. So if your kids have these sparingly, fine, but if they're a daily habit, especially when combined with other daily habits like sugary cereal and other crackers, your kids' teeth are at risk. The alternative, try some seed crackers. You can make these yourself at home super easily, or you can buy a brand like this that has no additives and nice whole food ingredients, or just make some homemade popcorn. Both provide a nice crunch with fiber and whole food nutrients, or make my sourdough crackers. They only contain 4 ingredients, so you don't have to worry about all the additives. And although the live cultures in sourdough are no longer active after baking, the prebiotic fibers and fermentation byproducts support good gut bacteria growth. Next up, low-fat sweetened yogurt like Yoplait. The good. There's a decent amount of calcium and some protein. The bad. There's just way too much added sugar and a bunch of additives which just aren't necessary for yogurt. Yogurt is just milk and bacteria, but we've got thickening agents, coloring agents, and I especially have a problem with natural flavors, as this is a term that's a catch-all for any variety of substances whose specific composition just doesn't have to be disclosed. But one of the main reasons to eat yogurt, in my opinion, is because it's fermented dairy, meaning you're getting live probiotics that are excellent for your gut health. Per the FDA, for yogurt to say contains live and active cultures on the label, it must have at least 100 million living bacteria at the time it was made and 10 million still alive by the time it reaches the end of its shelf life. So having something like this on your yogurt to indicate the number of probiotics you're getting is ideal. Yoplait doesn't have any indication of this, so my guess is the number of probiotics is going to be far less than other brands, or better yet, your own homemade yogurt. Check out my video on that if you want to make your own yogurt. It's easy and you can ferment it longer than store-bought yogurt for much higher bacterial counts. Sourness is also generally an indication of yogurt with a higher probiotic count because the bacteria in yogurt produces lactic acid as a byproduct, which gives yogurt its sour taste. So generally, the more sour the yogurt is, the more live cultures are present. So that can be your gauge. And if you don't like sour yogurt, just trust me, taste buds are super adaptable. Your taste buds will change. The alternative, make your own yogurt, or if you're not into yogurt making, I totally get it, buy it, but optimally you would opt for organic, 100% grass-fed, pasture-raised whole milk. This gives you the best nutrient profile. I like full fat dairy. I just don't think saturated fat in dairy causes the harm we thought it did. There's a nice complex matrix going on in your yogurt that keeps it from causing harm. And I actually think that there are some benefits. I won't get into more detail for now, but here's a nice randomized control study for you. And if you really think that yogurt needs to be sweetened ahead of time, just trust me, you can make it so delicious with your own toppings. Here's what I do. Yogurt, often Greek for added protein. I mix in some grass-fed pasture-raised collagen peptides that also have 18 grams of protein per scoop. And trust me, you can't even taste this stuff. Then I add chia seeds, flax seeds, banana, frozen wild blueberries, and almond butter. And sometimes I add a few cacao nibs too if I'm feeling it. And let me tell you, this is so delicious. Healthy doesn't have to taste worse. I 100% would always take a bowl of this over Yoplait, and it's going to keep me full for way longer. It's full of nutrients with no additives, has plenty of protein and omega-3 fatty acids. Delicious. Fruit snacks like Welch's. The good, I don't see many upsides except for there's some fruit puree somewhere in there. I would assume not much, however, because the only vitamins they're stating on the package are the very vitamins that they're fortified with. Vitamins A, C, and E. If these were so healthy and made with real fruit, they shouldn't need to have synthetic vitamins added back in. Which brings me to the bad. Despite the word fruit in the name, fruit snacks like Welch's are made with concentrated fruit juice. So think water gone, highly concentrated sugar, and no fiber. They also contain plenty of extra sugar, corn syrup, and sugar. The result is a candy-like snack that quickly spikes your blood sugar and is easy to overeat because it doesn't contain the fiber to keep you full. Many fruit snacks also contain artificial colors and flavors. Hello Red 40, which in Europe must carry a warning stating that the color may have adverse effects on the activity and attention of children. The alternative. Call me crazy, but fresh fruit. It's naturally sweet, full of fiber, and has essential vitamins. You're not taking stuff out and then putting it back into something that's been highly processed. Your child probably shouldn't be more used to opening a bag than tearing into a real piece of fruit. And you are your child's role model. Remember that. Whole foods contain a variety of nutrients that work together in a complex way, which can be disrupted when individual nutrients are added to processed foods during fortification. So let's get our nutrients from the real deal. Next up, white bread. The good. Again, the only upside I can really find is that it's fortified with vitamins and minerals like iron. But again, if you're having to fortify something, I think that should raise a red flag. So the upside is really just that white bread is convenient. The bad. White bread is made from refined flour, meaning most of the fiber and nutrients have been removed. This leads to quicker digestion and blood sugar spikes that are often followed by a rapid drop in blood sugar. The rapid rise and fall in blood sugar can affect the release of hormones related to hunger and satiety and can actually prompt more feelings of hunger. Check this out. Soft, white, and as wholesome as childhood itself. This is marketing at its finest. Picture looks great too. Makes you want to eat it. The alternative. We are not meant to be eating foods that have been highly refined and stripped of their nutrients. This is a really new phenomenon in the evolution of humans. A healthier option if you're into cooking is homemade sourdough bread. Sourdough uses natural fermentation that's easier on digestion. It supports gut health and promotes more stable blood sugar. Another good option is sprouted grain bread that you find in the freezer section because it doesn't contain preservatives and is full of natural whole food ingredients and fiber. If your bread lasts a long time out at room temperature, that's a problem. Last up, flavored oatmeal packets. The good. They're quick, convenient, and they contain oats. The bad. I wouldn't buy these for 3 reasons. Added refined sugar, natural flavors, which is a catch-all for ingredients that don't have to be disclosed. And lastly, when it comes to oats, they're commonly sprayed with glyphosate, the main ingredient in Roundup, weed killer. So if you don't want your child eating Roundup, definitely go for organic here. Organic oats can't be sprayed with glyphosate. So the only way they'll have it is if something happens like glyphosate floated in the air from a neighboring farm or from contamination in processing. Here's the Environmental Working Group's latest 2022 test of common oat-based products, and you'll see that the organic products are more likely to have non-detect levels of glyphosate. The alternative. Oats are nutritious and a great source of fiber, but opt for plain organic and sweeten them just like you would yogurt. Or just leave them as a savory food, which is how I like my oats. Or use oats to make my no-bake cookie dough, which is seriously so good. So if you ate all of these foods together, which could be one meal or maybe a meal and a snack for some kids, this is how much added sugar you would be eating. Take a quick look at the American Heart Association's recommendations for daily added sugar. With just this one meal, you'd already be over the daily recommendation of added sugar for both women and children. And it's important to remember that although we are allowed this added sugar, we really don't need any in the first place. We can get all of our sugars naturally from fruits, veggies, and whole grains. While these 5 common foods are convenient, they fall short in terms of real nutrition. And by making simple swaps, you can give your kids food that tastes great, satisfies actual hunger, and supports healthy growth and development. That's why we need nutrients for our kids, real nutrients. Healthy eating doesn't have to be complicated or restrictive. Just a few mindful changes can make a big difference. Read those labels and remember to eat real food. I'll see you in the next video.